Hello, my name is AlphaAnton, and today we're going to go over some results that I have from some recent testing that I did with some Cold War optics, most notably the 3x scope. I do want to preface this video by saying I do watch JGod quite regularly, and I did see his video about the visual recoil and debunking the Susat multi-zoom, where there was actually a lot of misleading content about that recently on TikTok, saying that it halved your recoil and all that sort of bullshit. Now, I do post most of my content on TikTok because that's where I have my largest voice, and I did post my findings on there, but it was met with a lot of comments like, JGod proved this wrong, and you're just doing this for views. Well, obviously I do make content for views. I found this quite interesting. I wanted to share it. This isn't the sort of Warzone content that I normally make. I usually make comedic, humorous sort of content. And I generally stay clear of loadout videos and all that sort of crap. Now, what I found in this testing, just in case you want to know whether you're going to be interested or not, is that the 3x scope actually does reduce your vertical recoil quite significantly. The Susat multi-zoom does as well, but not as much. And I use this testing with both the Krig 6 and the Cold War AK. Now, I'm going to roll some footage from the testing and explain a few things. I did my testing with bare bones guns and no attachments, aside from the 60 round mag. With iron sights, I did 2x, 3x, 4x, Susat multi-zoom, and then I decided to move on to actually doing a full class build, because this is going to be more realistic to what you're actually going to have in game. So I did a full build with the Krig 6 and the AK. We did iron sights, 2x, 3x, Susat multi-zoom, and the 4x as well. With my testing, for the Krig, I did it from 20 meters away, and that gave us a decent sized pattern. And for the AK, I did it from 10 meters away, and this gave us a decent sized pattern too. Any further, and it went way too high. It'd be really nice if we just had a massive wall somewhere we could do some testing from. Well, hey, how about a gun range or something? That'd be sick. One thing I found through this testing as well is that at what time you shoot during your weapon sway will actually affect your recoil, or recoil pattern, I should say. So what I made sure to do for both guns was time the shot at the same time during the sway pattern to at least take that variable out of it. I emptied 3 mags, making sure I didn't use the right thumbstick whatsoever, and kept the other patterns close by so we could see them and analyze them much more accurately. Now, I'm not a full-time content creator, so I don't have the time to do all of this sort of testing on top of all the other content that I make and having time to just have fun and play with my community. Now, I did test a couple of the hollow or red dot sights, and they didn't really affect any of the recoil, at least from what I found. This was the same for the 2x scope. The Susat multi-zoom did reduce the recoil by a little bit, and it had the same reduction if you were to zoom in as well. The 3 and the 4x scope had almost identical recoil reduction, and weirdly enough, the thermal scope matched these as well, at least for the AK. Now, what we have here is 3 patterns from the Krig 6 with the full class setup. On the left, we have the iron sights. In the middle, we have the 3x scope. And on the right, we have the Susat multi-zoom. The black line that I've drawn goes from the highest bullet all the way to the lowest bullet, from the center of those bullets, in a dead straight line, perpendicular to the ground. Now, using the length of these, we're able to determine the difference in percentage. Now, with our reference point being 296 pixels, our 3x scope is 237 pixels, leaves us a difference of 59 pixels. Divide that by 297, and that's pretty damn close to 20%. Strangely enough, very much like the VLK. Now, the Susat multi-zoom will round up to 262, and that leaves us a difference of 34 pixels. Divide that by 296, and that's 11%, or 11.5%. Now, this time we have the AK patterns. On the left, we have the iron sights. From left to right, we have the iron sights, the 4x scope, the 2x scope, and the 3x scope. Now, for this, our reference point is 253, and our 4x scope is 220. That leaves us roughly a 13% decrease in vertical recoil. Now, as you can see, the 2x scope is 244 pixels, which isn't a lot. It's only a difference of 9 pixels, and that could come down to a bit of variance, really. Whereas the other ones, I think, is a bit more than that. And the difference between the 3x scope and the 4x scope is 5 pixels. Again, that could come down to a bit of variance in the recoil patterns. So it's safe to say that they're both basically the same. Now, I'd love to know what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comments. Again, if enough of you think that I'm wrong, this testing wasn't correct or inaccurate, more than happy to take it down.